So I'm not sure if my screen is visible.
Sir, I cannot see your screen.
Yeah. Just hold on, we'll figure that out.
Yes.
So I can see share my webcam, but I'm not able to see share my screen option.
Sir, check it now.
Yeah. I'm able to see some more options now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hold on.
Yes, sir. I think the screen is visible now. Sir, if you will share it now, I think we can view.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is the broadcast already started?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The broadcast has started.
So I don't know. I'm still not able to see share my screen option over here. Maybe something needs to be done at your end.
Okay, let me check, sir.
Sure. So we have most of the attendees as students, Manisha madam, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most of the attendees are students.
Yeah,
Mostly
so I'm
third year
able
and
to
fourth years.
show my screen option now. My screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope on my screen the go to webinar panel is not visible. Like, should I put it off?
No, sir.
No,
The
it's
panel
not
is
visible.
not visible. Only the screen is visible.
Only the screen with the sketch is visible, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. That works now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll wait for another 5 minutes and then we might start.
Perfect. I'm online.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I'll be introducing you first and then you can continue.
Sure.
Okay, sir.
So I need not open my webcam, right?
Sir, in the starting, you may, when I'm introducing you, and then when you start with the presentation, you may put it off.
Sure. I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
I'm putting myself to mute for a minute till the time people attend it, right?
All right, sir. Good morning, sir. Sir, I think we can start now. The attendees would be joining.
Sure.
All right, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I am Manisha Singh, as all of you know, and I welcome again all of you on behalf of MBS to another webinar. And today's webinar is on invisible architecture, and we have architect Rajesh Advani sir as a speaker. And Rajesh Advani sir is a founder and editor of Architecture Live. I hope you all would be aware of this website. He is an architect and urban designer by qualification. He founded Architecture Live in 2011, intending to make architecture and design information easily accessible to everyone by way of creating a platform that offers fair and equal opportunity to all. The portal has grown into a platform that creates meaningful and engaging discourse on art, architecture, and design that involves diverse practices across India. In addition to managing Architecture Live, Rajesh sir has also published the first book, which is India Unbuilt Architecture. And this book celebrates the value of unbuilt Indian architecture. He has also been a part of many panels and jury where the focus has been architecture and design, in addition to being actively involved in facilitating dialogues and discussions on the architecture in India. We welcome you, sir, for conducting this webinar on invisible architecture, and I'm sure that it would be very interesting, and we all are looking forward to it. And over to you, sir, now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Manisha. It is indeed an honor to be invited by MBS School of Planning and Architecture, and the topic that we will be discussing, which is invisible architecture, is very close to my heart. We have been working on this topic for long, maybe 5 years. And of course, the presentation that we would be giving or we would be discussing is keeping in mind that most of the attendees are students. The examples shown over here are not just academic, but many from professionals. So these give an idea on, on what goes on inside architects' offices beyond what we see as buildings outside. This presentation would be about say 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes, but I'm hoping that it would also be engaging for students. I'm not sure if at any point students want to ask question or discuss anything, there would be a facility for that, but I would definitely be available to answer any such queries post my presentation also.
So they can tap their queries in the chat box, and at the end of the session, I can read out the queries and you can answer them.
Perfect. So that would be very interesting to discuss, because students generally ask questions to which faculty generally do not have answers. I have been teaching and they have many times put me in difficult positions, but that's what make education and teaching very interesting. So hello everyone, I'm sharing my screen over here. Let me put off my webcam. There's no need to see me. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir, the screen is visible.
Yeah, so I'm starting this presentation with a sketch by one of the leading architects in India, who is no more, but the kind of work he has left behind, the legacy that he has left behind, is still inspiring many people, and I'm pretty sure that there are many generations to come who would be inspired by the work this architect has created for all of us. There are some works which have not seen the light of the day. Those are the works which we are going to look at. So it is not the work by only one architect or few architects. There is a whole range of works that we are going to discuss and look at. The topic today is invisible architecture. Why invisible architecture? That I'm going to discuss now. We generally appreciate architecture, or we generally experience or feel architecture from the buildings that are in front of us. These buildings are present, these buildings are existing and allow us to, in a way, to communicate with them, go inside, move around and talk about them. But there are so many ideas, number of ideas, which do not go or come out of architects' offices. They remain either on the drawing tables in the form of sheets, sketches, models, and sometimes even scribbles. And these ideas are not rejected ideas. These ideas may not be accepted by some clients for some reasons. So when I say rejection, rejection has a negative connotation, and many students, uh, when they have a conflict or dispute or disagreement with other fellows or other students or even teachers at times, they should understand one thing: it is only the difference of opinion. Every idea matters a lot. The screen that you are seeing now, the image, is of a museum, and the architect who did this is architect Achyut Kanvinde. Now, when Achyut Kanvinde envisaged this museum, it remained unbuilt for some reason. We may not be discussing why the buildings or why these ideas have not gone out of architects' offices. Our focus is majorly to look at most of these ideas as a learner's perspective, completely forgetting the reason why these were rejected or why these were not accepted or why these were not these were not built for us to see. What happens to these ideas is, like I said, most of these ideas start with imagination. Imagination of what the building would look like. Many a times, these imaginations go to an extent of scale models, working drawings, but even after that, something happens and the building does not take the real shape, or the building does not appear on the ground as it is envisaged or as it is imagined. Now, this is the scale model of Tantra Museum designed by Achyut Kanvinde. He came up with this idea keeping in mind that it is going to be a public building which would also change the surrounding landscape of the city. Now, when Achyut Kanvinde was working on this, he also mentioned, I hope you are able to see my screen. If not, do let me know, please.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
It's visible, right? I'm just, yeah. So this drawing which you are seeing on the screen on the left hand side, which is site plan, it is only one of the drawings that I am sharing with you. But every project that we have collected or we have curated or we are documenting, there are loads of sketches which architects have shared. These sketches at times would not be understood by us or third person or anyone outside the office. We would also discuss today the value of these sketches, which people, creators like architects, students, artists create. At times, these are sketches which would make no sense for a layman. But for an architect who has created it, these sketches would mean a lot. They have a complete story. Architects can go on for talking around that sketch for hours together, and we would really be engaged with that, and then we would understand the value of one simple sketch that architect has created in the office. What happens at students level is many ideas are, I would say, killed by students or creators themselves at the level, at the time when it is still in mind, their mind. Students must introspect which kind of ideas they think will not work, or which kind of ideas they think are dangerous, which kind of ideas they think would not be accepted by their clients, which in case are their faculty, or which ideas they think are far ahead of its time and may not be feasible at this point of time. If we are able to introspect this, we would realize many ideas students who come up with are unique ideas, and that's the reason people find it difficult to accept it. I would like to share one of the examples of this one of the incidences which happened when I was teaching at one college. As a student came with the drawings of a hotel building. When I saw the hotel building, the sheets, the drawings, I just asked one student a very simple question. I can see that this building would function very well. There is no chance that this building would fail. But what I fail to see over here is architecture. If I give these requirements to anyone, even a contractor, he or she would be able to construct this building. So where are you needed as an architect? So this student asked me to wait for 5 minutes. She would go back to hostel and bring another set of drawings for the same brief. After 5 minutes or 7 minutes, when she came back, the drawings which she presented, I was completely zapped with those. I was surprised why these drawings were not shown to me. When I asked her why these drawings were not shown to me or not discussed, she said, I had shown it to the professor, and professor said, don't try to be Zaha Hadid, just make it straight. So these are the kind of discouragements which would really make good ideas not come out of students' minds or even on the final sheets. At this point, what we need to do is look at these ideas which get killed at our minds level very closely and see if this is the idea which would change the landscape, if this is the idea which would help me grow as a person or as an architect. I would be talking about the importance of ideas. Here, the presentation is not just about some buildings. The presentation is not just about some unbuilt works. The presentation is about ideas which have not seen the light of the day. Without even getting into the details of why, it is important to not reject an idea at this level. So why I'm calling it invisible architecture? Imagine a scenario, all those ideas which are in your mind, all those ideas which remain on a toilet paper or behind a bus ticket or a tissue paper or at a restaurant where you were having your snacks or some scribbling in your sketchbooks. If these ideas come to light of the day, or if these ideas are executed, what kind of architecture we would have? So there is this architecture which still exists, which is invisible to us, but this exists in our imagination. And everyone has his or her own individual imagination that we must discuss. Our discourse, our discussion on architecture should not be limited to what we see or what is existing on the site or what is built. Our discourse should get to a level where we also are able to discuss what could have been. Like I said before, every idea matters. I remember telling lots of students that I would be more interested in ideas which were rejected by you than those ideas which I can see on paper. Because whatever I can see on paper, I can really discuss. But what is in your mind, I really cannot discuss until you start discussing that. And at that point, I realize that before any idea comes on paper, there are hundreds of ideas which get killed, murdered, out of fear, out of doubt, out of insecurity, or maybe out of, I would say, there is some kind of uncertainty about that idea, whether my client, whether my teacher, whether my fellow colleagues, friends would like this idea. The problem over here is it is your idea. It defines not just your work, it defines you as a person. So why not just put it on the paper and see where it goes? At the most, it won't be accepted. That's completely fine, but at least you have some document in front of you which would tell you how you started, what was not accepted, and where are you at the moment. It helps you track your growth. Like this guy says, any idea, if it is not dangerous, it is really unworthy of being called an idea at all. That's the reason you would see 99% of architecture that is happening around us is mostly square, rectangular, solid and void, glass and aluminum, same kind of buildings. You go to any airport in the world, it would be very, very difficult to kind of imagine what kind of city you have landed into. There are, of course, there are some exceptional airports, one by Zaha Hadid, then Norman Foster, and then one by SOM in Mumbai now. But we have to change, we have to accept the ideas right at the beginning till the time we are able to see what it is going to make on earth. This is Prime Minister's residence. Indira Gandhi, when her party, Congress, was ruling India, this Prime Minister's residence was being worked upon by the architect Achyut Kanvinde. This residence went up to a stage, the design of residence went up to a stage where the scale model was created, the idea was accepted, the construction was about to begin. Everything was on paper, everything was laid out properly, but something changed, and this idea remained unbuilt. Now, I'm interested in telling you what changed over here. This Prime Minister's residence, because it was going to be used by Prime Minister then, Indira Gandhi. Congress lost election, and at that point, this project was halted. After that, this project never came out of architects' offices. Now, my study, my research about these kind of ideas started some 5 years ago. It's not that before that we were not discussing it. Many people were discussing it, but I very cautiously started talking about unbuilt works in India. I was talking to one of the architects, and this architect said, I am very willing to publish my work in your magazine, online magazine, Architecture Live, but do you accept unbuilt works? 70% of my works are unbuilt. I said, yes, why not? These are still works. This is architecture. He says, yes, it is. And I wish if any one of these works were built today, India would get its first Pritzker Prize. Of course, after that, architect B.V. Doshi got Pritzker Prize. I was very, very curious about what kind of work this architect would be sending. We would be seeing some of the work by this architect. When I asked him to send all of his unbuilt work, he said he would be sending me 5 to 6 projects at the moment. If I like them, I can ask for more. Those projects we'll be also seeing today. All the collection that we are talking about, not all, but most of the collection, most of the projects that we are talking about are documented in this book, which is the first book in India, which is the first book which talks about unbuilt architecture in India. Before this, of course, there have been effort to document unbuilt works, there have been exhibitions, there have been awards, but I was really curious about creating first book. There were challenges in creating these books. I am not discussing those challenges right now, but if anyone is interested in discussing those challenges, I would be very happy to sit across table, share a cup of coffee and discuss those. This is a wonderful story which is behind creating this book. This book is available online. People can still order it, and there are special discounts for students and teachers as well. While I am not looking at specific reasons for specific projects why they remain unbuilt or why they are not accepted, it is very important to understand some of the reasons why these projects remain unbuilt or why these projects don't go out of architects' offices. The major reason that I have come across during my talks with architects is disagreements with clients. Today is a time when technology is available technology has made it very easy for everyone to bring ideas. And this has created lots of problems for architects or creative professionals. So what happens is clients usually come up with Pinterest boards, Instagram images, or images from magazines, and they say, we want something like this. And then, of course, it hurts architect's ego at times. And then architect would say, I am an architect who can create something unique for you, something different for you. Why not give me that chance? Now, because that imagery is already there in client's mind, client has come up with some expectations already. There are some disagreements which are bound to happen. And if these disagreements go to an extent where both decide to not continue, these ideas, these projects remain unbuilt. Very importantly, what happens is the ability of an architect to convince their clients that the ideas which are being created or shared by architects are really worthwhile. That ability comes years, it takes years of practice. It takes years of hard work in understanding client psychology, the way one should convince their ideas, the way one should talk to clients, listen to them, and very politely discuss these ideas in a way the client would be convinced. Second, of course, is budgetary issues. In budgetary issues, what happens is architects would propose something which would not fit the budget of the client, or maybe at times clients also propose something which architects come up with, but then there are budget issues and then that idea does not really work and it remains unbuilt. In that case, either architects go back to the previous idea which fits the budget, or they just discard the project. They don't want to do something less over here. Many public projects face legal disputes. They go into litigation. What happens is everything is designed, the site is there, drawings are there, client is there, architect is there, contractors team or supervisors team, everything is kind of ready. But there would be someone who would take objection on your plot, on your design, on something which would bring your project to halt. It would go to court and then this project would never happen, or it would take ages for this project to happen. At that point, things would have really changed. The whole first idea, the first concept would may not have the same meaning at that point. Many architects in India, especially young architects, are now participating in competitions. These are public competitions where they enter, they send out their entries. Even if they don't win, there are some fascinating works which I'm going to share today with all of you. Some fascinating works which are highly appreciated by fellow architects, by even jury at times. But because this competition project either stood second, third, or did not even shortlisted, it does not get built. Now, interestingly, I have also list of projects which have won the competitions but are still not built. I would be showing a couple of these projects to you today. At least one project I do remember is included in this presentation. Now imagine there is an idea which is far ahead of its time. Like you have envisaged something which would work for future. Of course, it has to also work today, but for future, it would definitely be there. But your client, the promoter, your faculty is still not able to visualize that problem that you have visualized as an architect or architecture student. Now, these ideas, which are far ahead of their time, also get rejected at times. That's the reason you would see the same kind of buildings coming up, same kind of landscape, same kind of architecture happening all around us. And Franco Gehry actually talked about it. He said 99% of the buildings that we see around us today really makes no sense at all. He actually used a different word, but that is what he meant. Now also imagine a project where you require special kind of instrument, software, technology, or manpower to execute the project. You have a wonderful idea to which your client, you, your team has agreed, but you do not have resources which would help you execute this idea. These kind of cases really are few, but there are such cases which require special resources. If we import or if we kind of adopt those resources, the cost of the project would be very high, or it would not have the same effect if these resources are imported or are not local. Many projects also fit in this category. Number may be few, but it would be interesting to look at some of these works. This is a built project. I have written the name of this project at the bottom. It's Bihar Museum at Patna. I don't know how many of you have visited this project. And this project, when it was under construction, I visited it. I visited this project again when it was complete. I visited this project again after 2 years of completion. So I made at least 3 visits to this project to actually understand what is happening inside, because from outside it does not give you a lot of idea. Why I was interested in this project was it was a winning competition where a lot of architects from India had participated. Now what happens is when lots of architects participate in one competition, I am more interested in those ideas which did not win the competition. Of course, I am also interested in what is there, but now I want to see, I want to visual, I want to actually discuss those ideas which stood second, third, not shortlisted. And there is a reason that we have created a very special website for this. It's called unbuilt.in, where we are publishing unbuilt works from architects' offices. After the request from students, we have also started publishing architecture thesis and academic work, which are very interesting. You should visit that and see what's happening. Now, the reason I'm discussing this project over here, I looked at the second entry, the entry which was second, which was a runner-up entry, which is coming immediately after this, which I thought was very dynamic. It would change the surroundings, landscape around it. That was a kind of structure which has not existed in India in the past. But why was it not selected? So if I were the jury, I may not have selected this entry. But there was jury who was definitely more experienced. There was jury who was definitely uh, not just experienced, I would say they knew what they wanted. And of course, this building is not a bad building. It is awarded building. It has won many awards and it is functioning very well, highly appreciated even by people who are visiting this. By that, I mean end users, which is a very important part of any architectural project. I am going to the next slide, which would show you what could have been. This project is by a team of 3 architects whose firm is Space Matters. This is the runner-up entry. What I liked about this project was, unlike the previous project where you could see the compound wall or you could see the boundary wall, which actually stopped people from coming in. And why I was not liking that idea? Because it is a public building. If it is a public building, it should interact with people. Over here, you would see people were allowed to interact with the building. Even if they could not enter the inner parts of the building, they could enter the campus, spend some time. It acted like a public park. Now, this is the reason I thought public buildings should not have uh, should not bar people from entering it. They may have some areas, some uh, kind of rooms or some spaces which do not have full access, but at least a major part of this campus could easily be accessed by people. This building, this photograph also made it to the cover of the Unbuilt Volume 1 book after lots of considerations, of course. I don't know how many people are aware of the story behind National War Museum competition, which uh, happened recently. I would not say recently, but it's of course 4 5 years ago or 3 years at least, where Sami Padora and associates were declared winner of the project. This is the kind of building they had come up with. Whether you like it, dislike it, it's a different story. But what I am interested in telling you now is this building did not come up. This building was stopped even after having won the competition, even after having won lots of uh, appreciation from people, fellow architects everywhere. But there was a controversy around this building. If you are interested in listening to that, there could be a separate session on it, but one must listen to that because that's how our profession is now working. And it is only us, especially you students, young architects, would be able to change it. Now, in this building, when Sami Padura and Associates proposed this, there are hundreds of sketches and drawings, which I'm not showing to you over here. That is the kind of effort uh, which has gone behind this. Now, if you ask how much money was spent on this kind of project in just architect's office, it ran in lakhs, more than 15 lakh rupees. Specialist teams were invited to architect's office who worked on renders, ideation, development of project. There were teams of people who were only working on models. So that is a kind of amount which was spent on this. Fortunately, this firm won the project. Unfortunately, the building did not come up. The worst part, the architect was not even given the cash prize, which is amounting to around 50 lakh rupees. You can imagine what kind of frustration this architect might have gone through or might be going through at this moment. There is a legal dispute going around this. Another entry for National War Museum, which was shortlisted. Now you see, these are the kind of ideas. There is a very interesting word which one of the architects used while we were documenting Unbuilt. He said, if you're documenting Unbuilt, if you're talking about something which has not come up in real life, why don't we look at those ideas which are edgy? I asked, what does edgy mean? He said, edgy means something which would be not be very comfortable for viewer, for people to see. Something which would challenge the set notions, which would challenge the tradition, which would challenge the past. Edgy means which would kind make us think, make us curious. Now, this entry by Collaborative Architecture for National War Museum was also highly appreciated, shortlisted. It did not won anything, but that is not important at this point. What is important is the amount of effort which is being put in every project by so many architecture firms in India. And where are we discussing that effort? What we are discussing is the building which is complete, the building which is seen. If you disagree with me about discussing Unbuilt, I would be very happy to host you at office and discuss this in front. Again, this kind of changed the way community centers or public buildings or community halls look like. A very good example of a building which is different from this, but this building, when I saw the picture, I I thought it is just a small part of the building, ventilator maybe at the top or some exhaust at the top of a terrace or something like that. But when I looked closely, it has staircases, it had a large uh, cantilevers, entrance, and everything. But he said this building was envisaged as a cricket ball by architect. And when architect was working on this, again, I think was a competition project which did not, which was accepted as a winner, but did not happen because it is finally the client's wish and the client's uh, I would say, decision to whether go ahead with the winning entry or to not go ahead with the winning entry. There's a side view of that building. Generally, I would not like any photograph or any image which does not have humans, because humans in the photograph gives the sense of scale. It gives me the idea of the monumentality of the building, or if the building is very small, cozy building around which humans can actually feel there is a very cozy space. But I can see that I can still understand the scale of the building because of the steps around it. Even if the entry, the triangular entry that you are seeing, does not convey the real scale, but the steps would tell you this is the size of the building. Now you see, when if you give a free hand to architects, if you give a free hand to creators, if you give a free hand to architecture students, what wonderful ideas they can come up with. I was discussing this project with AVRD Architects. The firm is based in Delhi, and this is Science City, Guwahati. He said we really wanted to try out something which would change our way of practice. Now, this is a different story over here. Architects need to come out of their own comfort zone, their own standard way of thinking, and at times challenge their own ideas and notions and push the envelope. When I say push the envelope, it means when you say कुछ नया करते हैं या कुछ तूफानी करते हैं, uh, that kind of idea in your mind. So this ABRD was saying that we wanted to do something new. We were very happy with the end product. We were happy with the process also. We were happy with the way the building was shaping up, coming up on paper. At the heart, we also knew that this building would not happen. Now look at this. This is courage. You know something that it might not succeed, but you are still continuing because you believe in that idea. Now, such ideas must be documented, such ideas must be talked about. Now, I am also interested in talking about interesting, bold, courageous academic ideas. At times, there are times when faculty and even students come up and say, this is the bold idea we have envisaged. We are not sure if it is going to work in actual life, but this is something which we are really proud of producing in our institute. That should become public. That should become part of the book. The first book that you saw do not talk about academic work. It does not talk about academic work. It only talks about the real sites where site was existing. There is a client, there is a very reasonable design brief. So in a way, all the examples in that particular book are buildable unbuilt, which one can build, but these are still unbuilt. We were also thinking we should look at those ideas which are unbuildable, which are only imaginary, which are courageous. Let us let us push our own envelope and see if these kind of ideas would change the way we think. I'll come to that a little later. I want to show you the kind of effort every architect is putting up even in the unbuilt works. This is a render of that project. Now, even if I'm showing you two or three or maybe only one image of certain projects, be sure that every project which is being shown over here has a large number of drawings, sketches, which are with either architect, some are with us, which we are documenting. We are not able to show in this presentation. We are not even able to show in the book because of the limitation of number of pages and increasing costs. But these are with us. If anyone is interested in discussing any of these ideas, the sketches behind those ideas or scribbles, I would be happy to discuss those ideas also. This project has an interesting story. Some clients go broke, but financially they may be broke, with ideas, with respect to ideas, they are always rich. This is something which I wanted to share about this project. Yeshwant Pitkar is an architect, an architectural photographer, and academician at JJ School of Architecture, Mumbai. Somebody who was contributing to the first volume of the book said, Rajesh, there is a very interesting project which happened in 1980s, but there is not enough material of that project. Would you be interested in documenting that? I said I would be interested in at least seeing that. I'm not sure if we are going to accept that for documentation. So we contacted Yeshwant Pitkar. I asked about that project. He said, yes, I'm very emotional about that project. I would like to share a PowerPoint presentation if you are interested. He shared the PowerPoint presentation, which had no text. It only had images, and I was very impressed with that. I said, I want to know more. I'm pretty sure before you came to this idea, there must be some sketches, there must be some drawings you made out of this. He said, we made a number of sketches. We made a number of scribbles, but these are not documented. I think these have been thrown away. This made me really sad because there is some good work, there is something worth documenting, but we are only able to talk or look at images of the models. A few days later, he sent me a message saying that Rajesh, I have hand drawn uh, drawings. See if these work. These were the drawings which Yashwant Pitkar shared with me. These drawings have been printed, published as it is in the book. Now, if you look at these drawings, don't just look at the effort now, look at the emotion in the drawings. The kind of mind and heart that has been put into every single line, detailing. Now, at any given point, architect had this idea that this is not going to build, not going to get built. Would he still be interested in continuing with this? I am not sure. But many people do not lose that enthusiasm. They say whether it is getting built or not built, for me, it is still architecture. Pitkar talked about the client who said who owned a piece of land on a very it is a steep slope, so that's the reason the house was like this, but it did not come up again because of some disputes on the side. There was some legal issues. The client also was not interested after that. But then we have a very interesting project, a small house, an edgy project, a project which has kind of pushed the thinking of an architect. Of course, this is existing, this is built. We all know what this building is, a parliament building. There is a reason I am showing you this building. We all can go around this building. For those who have permission, these people can also go inside, talk to some people. Maybe they can take photographs if permitted. They can feel the building, experience the building. They can also write about the building or sketch the building. This is a building which allows you to talk about itself because it is standing there. Now this building would be converted into a museum and the new building would come up. A triangular building which is besides the old parliament building. Now this building would come up in a year or so. This sketch or this photograph, this render gives us an idea of what kind of building would come up. This building would be built for sure, but at the same time, we will not be able to talk about this building's experiences till the time we are able to see it. We need more information. Now, this more information may not be only drawings, sketches, inside views, or renders. This more information also means senses, a sense of touch, sense of smell, sense of sound. There are so many five senses that you need to really exploit over here, which would not happen at this moment. But after 1 year, 2 years, you may be able to visit this building and see, talk about it. And then you would like to share your experiences with your friends or people that this is the kind of building I am talking about. But then there is third kind of parliament building. This. This is a thesis project by a student. His name is Dhruval Shah. Again, the idea is not to talk about whether it is a good building, good design, bad design, executable, buildable, unbuildable. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is someone is thinking beyond the capacity of what one can think in a studio, standard design studio. Now, this project also was uh, appreciated well by faculty, students. It won some NIASA award, I guess. The student was very excited about this idea. He sent the project to us for publication. It got selected for publication. Now, it should just push all of us one step ahead. And let us ask a question. What would happen if this building actually came to existence? What would happen if this building really was there on the site? Would it be equally interesting? Would it be equally impressive, or would it be equally, I would say, bad? We don't know, because these ideas remain on paper in form of images, and what we can only do is look at these images and then talk about what goes in an architect's mind, sometimes even without talking to architect. So the best would be to have an architect, have the architect or designer of the building in front of you sitting and explaining you. But how many times that happens? This building too, we all know. Uh, the Hall of Nations, designed by architect Raj Rewal. Architect Raj Rewal created many masterpieces in India, and one of these buildings, which is highly respected, not just in architects fraternity, but also structural designers, engineers fraternity, not just in India, but abroad. This building has been presented in so many exhibitions. This building has been talked about in so many conferences that it has become a symbol of heritage, modern heritage, I would say. But before we get into the meaning of heritage or modern heritage, there is some different thing to look at. This building was demolished for whatever reason with an intention to create something new. Now, there is an essay, there is an article in the book which talks about unbuilding. Unbuilding means you have created something, you have built something, and then you have destroyed something. Now, destroyed something to make way for something new, destroyed something because you did not like it, destroyed something because it was creating some other problems. Reasons could be any. In this case, the reason was it had to make way for something new. And this is the new proposed Hall of Nations or Convention Center, as they call it, is coming up, designed by Arcon. Even over here, while the building is under construction, you would see the large hoarding outside Pragati Maidan, which has image of this. There is a YouTube video also of this building. You could watch what kind of building would come up. Here we are able to see what kind of structure, what kind of environment would be created in Pragati Maidan now. We are kind of rejecting the old Pragati Maidan. We are developing a new Pragati Maidan. This building is being built. It would be there for us to look at it, appreciate it, visit it, and talk about it. Again, academically, there is someone who created a different kind of building for the same problem, same design brief. I don't know the name of the institution, that is not important at the moment. This student said The old building, which was this, he wanted to create something on the similar lines, but at the same time getting into technology. So parametrism, something which is modern, something which would be liked by new generation of people. Now in India, the taste about architecture is drastically changing. The kind of taste that we had or the kind of taste that you will have, there would be a big difference because of the things, the way things are developing. This person, this student, of course he's an architect now, the student envisaged that, and he went few steps ahead and said, I want to respect that old building, that old I would say idea of the building or old idea of the Hall of Nations, and still continue or do something new, because we have to move forward or move ahead with times. So he created this kind of structure as Convention Center, which is still a thesis project. Now my question again is, what would happen if this kind of building actually comes up? If this is so appreciated academically, it has won awards, why can't we have such kind of buildings actually existing? The possible reason is not just because it is academic. The possible reason is there has to be acceptance for bold ideas. And from where it would come, I may not have answers at the moment, but we definitely have to think about it. If we do not have acceptance for the bold, edgy, courageous ideas, then we would end up only creating the boxes. I'm slowly moving into professional work, which is unbuilt. We saw some academic exercises, and we will again see a lot of academic exercises ahead in this presentation. When we are moving towards professional exercises, I'll be quickly jumping onto slides because I'm seeing that we are already at 12 now and our time is only till 12:30. And Manisha madam, you can just stop me whenever you want to. Now this building is
Yes,
actually
sure.
sports. Yeah, this building is actually a sports complex designed by Architecture Red. These kind of renders were created in the office. Now, if architects start thinking that this building is not going to get built, they would not put this much of effort. But then there are architecture firms who do not worry about the end result. They just enjoy the process. They look at every line on the sheet as built, as if it is going to be there. That idea that it is not going to come up is discouraging for them. The sections of that building, this building is sports complex at a school which was designed by Architecture Red. It got rejected possibly because of its form. It is functional, it would work very well, but it was too bold for school. That is what uh, he shared. Now these are the iterations, or these were the, not iterations, these were the generative diagrams of the same building, where they went in to an extent of analyzing the structure, even climate, support systems, and the form. Quickly, I'm jumping to my favorite, one of my favorite works. It is a home for marginalized children designed by At Architecture. The man in the photo on the left is Avnish Tiwari. So in At Architecture, AT is for Avnish Tiwari. He created the building with after dialogue with actual people who are going to use it, and these are the children who will be using it. But this project, of course, remained unbuilt. He created a model of the building as it would stand. A model which is interactive, because children were more interested in seeing what would happen inside. So one could open up the building model and see what's happening inside. One could actually see the scale, volume inside. This is the kind of effort which was put into this building, which unfortunately did not get realized or remained unbuilt. So if you want to see large drawings, either you can see in the book, or if you can contact me, I can provide you with those drawings. This is something which is public, and there is no problem with sharing. Indian architect working abroad. Yeah, I'm just taking a very small example. Now, what happens is, because you are into practice, and there comes a point in your practice where you get bored, where you really are frustrated with the kind of work which is being produced. You are frustrated with the same kind of uh, client's demands. So what you do is, you create a problem for yourself, a new problem which would push your thinking imagination. So this kind of brief or work, which is created by architects themselves for a non-existent client, possibly non-existent site also, these kind of works are called as speculative works. Speculative works are where there is no real brief or demand, but you create it for either yourself or proposing something which would change the way of living or using a building. This is a building in Nepal in snow. This was created for tourists in snow because he visited there. The architect thought that it would be very interesting to have this kind of a structure which would be giving some break to tourists or climbers, where they can sit, and there would be thermal protection. People can sleep inside if they need. The same firm also participated, very young firm, they also participated in a real competition of skywalk at ITO. You can see that skywalk at ITO has been already built, but this option has not been built. The one which is built is by Gunmeet Singh Chauhan. The sectional drawings, renders, and again a cross section of the skywalk. The same firm went few steps ahead and created a building, a large building museum for KD Malviya, with sections, drawings, and lots of renders and sketches, which can be shown later. But the idea is to tell you that sometimes to work on very large projects, even professionally, there may be client, there may not be a client, but it gives you a satisfaction of doing something very different, very unique, which kind of pushes your practice to a new level. I would like to quote Ruturaj Parekh, who wrote one essay on unbuilt architecture. He says, more than an architect, even a project wants to be something, a building wants to be something. There is an aspiration of a project. That is what architects need to understand. Whether this aspiration remains built or unbuilt, but at least on paper, you would be able to see what kind of building, what kind of environment you are going to create. This is another competition, SPA Bhopal, where many architects participated. This one was one of the shortlisted entries by D Coop Architects Mumbai. This is a model which they quickly created for their presentation. The isometric view of the building was created, but there are lots of drawings. So what I'm showing you just the surface of this whole project. There are drawings to an extent where each window, each section has been very detailed out in a manner one would understand that it can be constructed right now. There's a plan of a building, and of course this render, which explains the overall scheme very briefly, and it also explains the massing, the circulation of the campus. Now these are some of the competition projects which architects are proud of participating in. I'm not saying doing this building, but they are proud that they participated. Architects, if you talk to them, they would talk about these moments where the entire team had a deadline to work on a project without worrying about what would be the result, but they enjoyed being together, participating in the process, and creating something which would create memories for them or their practice. This is an interesting, very small but interesting project. done by Design Plus, it may not give you an idea from the sketches on top what it is, but it is a residence uh, in Noida where architect wanted to try out something new. Like I said, architects really get bored of their own work at one point, and they try out something new to really uh, kind of change the way their practice is developing or going. This is a video. I'm quickly going to next slide. Now, even how you are seeing the renders of this small residence which was created by architects. You saw the process by which they arrived at this solution. There are also sketches, hand-drawn sketches and renders uh, for the same building which were part of the process. Same firm participated in a competition. It's National Police Memorial. So when you participate in competition, the client only gives you brief. Everything else is yours. Client does not come to you at every stage and discuss the progress or to discuss we should change this or that. Client here, the promoter or client only gives you brief and says at this date, at this time, you have to submit your proposal. That's it. Till that time, you have all the freedom to do whatsoever you want to do. Now, we all architects, you students also would enjoy that freedom. Who doesn't love freedom? And when it comes to creative freedom, people are really personal and egoistic about it. And architects have the lots of ego. Over here, what this firm tried was they were getting into parametric architecture. They were really trying to explore and exploit it. And they used this opportunity in their practice to create a building using parametric software for National Police Memorial at Delhi. This police memorial also has a very interesting story. I would like to tell you if we have time. This competition was won by Lotus Studio, Amrish Arora, Nikhil Dhar, and Siddharth Talwar team, but the building actually did not come up. What client promoters did was they took up some ideas from the winning entry and they created their own thing on the site. It's a kind of drawing. Now, what I'm not showing you over here is a very big PDF, a research document which led to this kind of solution. So I may be doing injustice to this building when I'm only showing you this image, but let me confess that only this image does not do justice to the entire project. These are the kind of developments which happen during the process. Everything is documented even if the project remains unbuilt or doesn't go on the site. This is Bamia Cultural Center at Afghanistan. Entry by GDK Designs. There were many architects from India who participated in this. I have few entries with me. I'm just showing you one of the entries over here. This architect, I mentioned right in the beginning that this architect approached and said, a lot of my work, about 80-90% is unbuilt. Would you be interested in publishing that? I said yes. And when he sent me his work, I was zapped. This drawing, one can zoom into every detail. I will not be able to zoom in now, but this drawing is very big panel, a 10 feet panel of drawing. You can zoom into every detail of the building and see what's happening there. Now you see a similar kind of practice in the model by the same firm. So they have established their approach. They have established some kind of process within their office. What they do is they spend a lot of time doing models, sketches, and scribbling. What is interesting is A lot of architects now say the drawings which go on site do not really help architects as such with visualizing the building. Those drawings only help the construction people, contractors, and those are meant for construction people. For architects, it is always models, initial sketches, process sketches, or development drawings which help them. This model of the Blueberry House is again by GDK Designs, and I have lots of work which is already published by GDK Design, which is about just residential projects which have remained unbuilt. Almost everyone by now knows Bimal Patel, architect Bimal Patel from Ahmedabad. Uh, when we approached them and requested them to send their unbuilt works, they said one of the unbuilt works which is very close to their heart is a museum complex at Gandhinagar. This is designed by HCP. What happens over here is there is a site, there is a real requirement, there is a client, but because of the changing nature of politics, because of the changing nature of clients' requirements, these projects remain unbuilt. Now they have models, they have renders, they have sketches, they have the detailed views of all inside buildings over here. I'm very much interested in sketches and initial drawings where architects actually start visualizing or imagining their buildings. And there are some buildings which do not start with plans. There are some buildings which start with sections, cross sections. This is one of the buildings by Henry Fentham Office of Architecture. The firm is situated in Delhi. They were asked to create a cemetery, Catholic cemetery in Gurgaon. When he went to the site, he thought the first thing was to create the building in section and not in plan. And he developed more sketches, plans later on, and a detailed section which he says explains the building more than a plan would do. So one has to even ask the question, why should we have this sequence of first submit the plan, then sections, then elevation? Something can even start just with a section. Something can start with a 3D view of a building. Everything around us is in 3D. So I do not know what justice 2D drawings do to our discussions. A 3D render comes much later, but this is the result of progression from a sectional sketch, a sketch which started over here. A very, very large project, a prestigious project, Nalanda University, designed by 100 Hands, Vijay Ramachandran and Sonita Kondur. This project has a huge research document which can be shared with you people, which can be discussed when we have time. But what I'm interested in over here is this project stood second in the competition. Architect BV Doshi won the competition. But this project has been talked about more than the winning entry among architects fraternity. The reason is the way it is detailed out, the way it is explaining or doing justice to the site. This is one of the models. I am not saying this is the only model. This is one of the models created by that architect. Here, a number of models were created to understand the form, the site, then to understand the scale, circulation, detailed model for every complex, academic complex, residential complex, research complex was created for this. There is a document which one can refer to. It's a small building. Once you have seen Nalanda campus, this building would appear definitely small. This is a library at Bangalore by Inform Architects. There is a video which unfortunately I'm not carrying today, but there is a video one can also see that. They are also very proud of their section more than the plan. And the generative diagrams, how this building has taken the form. This has remained unbuilt, of course, but what is again interesting over here is if you look at the process, if you look at the effort, if you look at the kind of imagination which has happened at architects level, architects would never look at buildings as built or unbuilt. For them, everything is there. One can experience it in the mind. Again, a building in Samarkand by Gemini Mehta. Samarkand is outside India, where they went. This was a competition project, did not win it, but the process is worth documenting and talking about. Studio Made is a firm based in Hyderabad. They say they are proud to have lots of unbuilt works. And if you look at this building, image of that building, you would feel that it is really standing there. It started with a sketch like this. I was talking about the value of sketch or the initial idea which only architects understand. So when I started looking at the sketch, I did not understand anything, but I was pretty sure for that architect, when he sent me the sketch, it meant everything. The sectional view of the building. His building is IMEC, which is International Music Experience Center. This also has sketches, which possibly we would not understand. But why we are seeing is the importance these would have for architects or creators. You would know your sketches better than your colleagues, your faculty, or anyone else. And this is the final form of the building. Inspiration you can take from anywhere. These are the rocks in Hyderabad. The building was coming up in Hyderabad. So the sketch at the bottom was a resultant of that inspiration. And the final building looked like this. It did not happen, but one could see the inspiration from where it has come. Again, I'm talking about sketches, the value of sketches and why these should be documented, even if these are on your toilet papers, tissue papers, behind bus tickets, anywhere. Try and document those. You would then understand how you have grown over years. One should look at the work by Tau Architecture. Tau Architecture is the firm based in Pune. The architect's name is Manish Banker. He does wonderful sketches for every project. There is a one completed building which I'm not showing here. One should see the sketches and one would really appreciate the kind of effort he puts into every line. I like this idea where architect again created a challenge for themselves. This is a speculative work where architects thought they should create a mobile residence for farmers, which farmers can carry with them when they are moving from one place to another to sell their grains or anything. This residence would do justice to their requirements. It could be folded, unfolded, and carried on a truck. You can see that. Look at the assembly, look at the detailing over here. If you want more details about it, we can discuss it someday. This is again the detailing of the same residence, farmers aboard. I'm talking about speculative works which are the generation which start with architects' imagination or mind, which have no real requirement, but architects are mostly proud about these kind of works. This also includes some academic work. This is student's project, a crematorium. Student's name is Shravan Suresh Iyer, and he created crematorium in an urban setting with lots of explorations and generative diagrams and models for different stages. Then we have architect Gautam Bhatia. If you look at his book titled Blueprints, he just talks about ideas. There is no real requirement of creating such a say walkway or such building or such a structure. What he did was he created a situation where he asks, what would happen if I create a walkway like this, which is multi-level, which has a garden on top? Why should we have so drab walkways all around? So he created this idea in his office. What would happen if a house was created inside a commode, a very large size commode or toilet seat or toilet equipment one can see, and this is called globe house. Interestingly, look at the sketches by Gautam Bhatia. If you get a chance, you would see the kind of energy he puts into speculative works. And but generally, lots of architects call him the master of unbuilt works. But he goes to an extent of developing every detail of that speculative work as if it would be actually constructed. Similarly, he created a house in the forest which was underground, which he called Daylight House. Why should we only see works by architects or interior designers over here? There are some people who contribute to architecture. Now, I'm showing you quickly some works by artists, how they look at cities, how they uh, imagine cities or architecture. So, Dharmendra Prasad created a lifted field for people to use in a large ground. It's just that project. One would ask, what is in this? One can just lift the field. But to be able to even imagine that, one requires some kind of imagination which has not been corrupted by our past experiences. Artist Bhagwati Prasad created a sketch how he sees the city of Delhi. And we are coming towards the end of this presentation because this is something I really did not want to miss. And I'm really sorry for the spelling at the bottom of Begumpura. It is you are here, Begumpura, not Begunpura. He created some sketches of how would a city be from an artist's point of view or from an artist's perspective. The second book which we are working on includes those ideas which may not be real ideas or which are not really required or have demand by clients. Here are some of the sketches. You have a city completely inside a very artistic form. So when this artist submitted their entry, we were really confused whether to accept this or not for the book. And our curators who were part of the book said, if we have to only talk about what is doable, what is easy, then we are not doing justice to architecture. We should really look at the value of ideas rather than looking at just the values of what can be built. When any idea gets rejected, it is generally rejected by a third person, but for the person who has created that idea is still everything. The second book which we are doing would have many of such ideas, which are academic ideas, thesis projects, in addition to some real projects. So I'm coming to this end where I'm again emphasizing upon the need of idea and need of documenting the idea. What happens is, even if some people don't agree with your ideas in the beginning, there would be a point where even you would reject an idea, but you have more authority to reject your idea than someone else. Ask yourself a question. Why am I rejecting this idea? Can I record this idea or document this idea even if I am not working on it at this moment? Possibly an year later or 5 years later, when you look back at that, you will either laugh or you will feel embarrassed about it, but you should be proud that you were still thinking something that people were not accepting. You were going beyond someone else's imagination. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manisha Adam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So it was really a very interesting presentation.
I hope so.
Students, no, sir, it really was. I was glued to all the projects. I was looking into it, and side by side, I was also searching about it in the Google. Students, if you have any doubts, any questions, you can kindly, type it in the chat box, and we may have a discussion over it. We can wait for a minute or two for you to type if you have any queries or if you want to discuss anything.
I would like to have some feedback from students who have attended. Could be anything. It's not just whether they liked it, not liked it, any questions or something that would really improve even my communication.
Sure, sir.
Oh, there are 94 attendees and not a single question. Anyway, so what I will do is, it's okay. What I can do is, I'll share my email address. You already have my email address and you have my phone
Yes, sir.
number. If students want to discuss anything or they have questions, they can really approach me and I'll be willing to help with these questions in the best capacity.
Sure. Sure, sir. I'll look into it, and if I do get some queries or any request to contact you, I'll let you know. But I would like to thank you, sir, for this wonderful and interesting presentation. I'm sure that all the students would have enjoyed it, and I would like to thank you on behalf of the MBS School of Planning and Architecture for sharing your experience of compiling this book and showing us such interesting projects of the unbuilt. And I am sure that this would have also inspired our students to explore their creativity after this presentation. So I am really hoping for that. And I also would like to thank Director Vijay Das sir and Professor Bagga sir for providing us such opportunities for organizing such sessions. And thank you everyone for being here once again, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for joining us. It was a really very wonderful presentation.
Ma'am, we have few questions if we can share it.
Yes, sir, sure. Sir, can you see the questions, because I don't have anything in my chat box. Sir,
no, I am not able to see questions.
Deepak sir, can you?
Okay.
Deepak sir,
yes.
because I cannot see any questions.
Architect,
so
no issues. Architect Komal Arora ma'am is saying beautiful presentation with a lot of importance to rejected work. Ankit Luthra, student, is saying it was a really great experience learning from those unbuilt structures. Priyanka Java is saying, firstly, sir, it was the best webinar I have attended so far. One thing I want to ask is, can we present our sketches in our final portfolio?
I would say you should present your sketches in the final portfolio personally, because I have also been an educator. I would give more emphasis to from where this idea has been generated or started. There has to be more importance to sketches, initial ideas, even if you don't follow them during the process. At the process, you may just say this sketch does not work, but in your final presentation, you should have all the ideas which you have thought about, everything.
Kunal Arora says, extremely useful talk, had great experience listening you, got a new thinking perspective, much appreciated, great presentation. Komal ma'am, Architect Komal Arora ma'am says, can we have any idea how we can work on these unbuilt works?
No, so I did not understand the question. If she means by how can we study unbuilt works, is that the question?
Maybe she may type the question again. So let's.
If her question is if we can study unbuilt works, yes,
work
the
in them.
process
She's
of
saying work on them.
Sorry.
She's asking on working on them.
Working on them. Yeah, so there is an opportunity. What we are trying to do is we are trying to see if these unbuilt works can be documented in a way. We are looking for a team who can uh, write about these unbuilt works, analyze these works, talk to architects, and also kind of take these unbuilt works to a stage where these become inspiration for young architects and students.
Okay. Sandhya says there are also certain examples of projects that were once built but were later demolished or ceased to exist. How do we address and honor these projects as unbuilt? What would be your view on them, on the same? Am I audible, Manisha ma'am?
Sir, I think maybe there is a network issue from sir's
Okay.
side. Screen is frozen. So I'm trying to contact him. Let me see.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Students may write their questions.
Now I can hear. Yeah, okay,
Yes, sir.
perfect, perfect. Yeah,
Yes, sir. I can hear it now.
yeah. I'm sorry for this.
So
There was some network issue at our end.
no issue, sir.
Yeah.
So Sandhya says there are also certain examples of projects that were once built but were later demolished or ceased to exist. How do
Yes.
we can address and honor these projects as unbuilt? What would be your views on them, on
So
the
I would
same?
not put them in unbuilt category. If there is a word for that, unbuilding. Uh, there is a write-up in a book which talks about unbuilding of a project, like Hall of Nations was demolished, or there are many good projects being demolished or being removed or they cease to exist. It's a very right question. I think this question is now helping me with documenting a different kind of work which ceased to exist. Now, this is something I would say people should start taking up. There are people talking about it on social media that good projects are being demolished. What is not happening is uh, documentation of this work, like the way Unbuilt documentation has started. So I really appreciate that someone has really brought up this.
Thank you, sir. The next, Abdullah Khalid said there should be a whole city built up or of rejected ideas.
If it gets built up, why would we call it rejected idea then? Then that idea would be the best idea to live in.
Exactly.
But very interesting. Uh, I think we should put up a drawing with these all unbuilt ideas and see how our city would look like if these projects were built. I think this is an interesting observation.
Right, sir.
City of unbuilt ideas.
Soham Shah says the presentation was wonderful and so informative. One question I want to ask is that while creating a bold form, how to deal with the function and spaces of the structure?
So there is always this dilemma whether form follows function or function follows form. One should remember what Vitruvius said. The first thing is your building has to perform. Your building has to be functional. Just because it looks good does not mean that it is good. Second, it has to definitely look good because architecture is a visual art. People are going to see what you create for hundreds of years. First, your building has to perform. Second, your building has to look good. Third, structurally, your building has to be sound. It should be easy to maintain. It should be very easy to create. It should withstand all the adversities, whether natural calamities or other forces. So when you just focus on form, and if your building is not functioning, I don't know whether we call it a building then. It's just a form standing on the ground. It can be just any other sculpture sitting on the ground.
Uh, Soham, to add on, I just heard something related to that. A good design is like a fridge. If it doesn't work, it stinks.
Of course, yes.
Bhavesh Bhatia says, wouldn't it be little discouraging if 70 to 80% of an architect's works are unbuilt?
It is discouraging, but when you start talking about in a way that would help architecture profession, then I think the course of discussion changes. Now you should look at your own things. How many of your own ideas have been rejected so far? You may be say 20 years or 21, 23 years old now. Not all of your ideas were worked upon, but you are still living. You are thinking. You are moving forward. So unbuilt work does not stop your practice. It generally shapes your practice at times.
True.
So don't get discouraged with that. I think unbuilt works are really inspiring works for your office at least. Don't look at it as a failure.
Mehak Chabra says, if we wish to study the works mentioned, are they available on the website?
A lot of works are available on the website. If there is any particular work you think you want to study and if it is not available on the website, you have my contact. I'll be willing to help in all possible ways.
Okay, thank you. Naman Agarwal says, Sir, it was really a great presentation. Sir, can you share the details of the projects so that we can study in detail about the ideas of such great projects? I think
Same
you have
also. If
answered
you
it. Yeah.
these are, yeah, I have already answered it. Just write to me or talk to me. We'll definitely arrange it. Everything that is public is shareable. We don't hide anything.
Aruna Kapoor says, most knowledgeable webinar. Thank you, sir. Can you recommend us some more books?
I'll be very selfish over here. I have my two books which talk about architecture, which is not around us, but still it is architecture. But if you're interested in particular kind of books, I have a huge list of books which I can share with you. I just want to know what kind of books you would be interested in, the taste, whether short story books about architecture or coffee table books.
Vanshika Jain is asking, Sir, it was a wonderful presentation. At the end of the presentation, I found myself relating to the title. That's why it is called the Invisible Architecture.
Yes, yes.
Akhila says, Sir, it was a fantastic presentation about the unbuilt work. As a student, I was not even aware of these adorable unbuilt work, and this had opened my eyes on architectural work done by architects of these unbuilt work.
I'll tell you, Indian architects are doing commendable work, and unfortunately, 70-80% of these works do not come out of their offices. One has to get into their office and just talk to them about the works which are not built. Then you will see the real practice.
So Roshan is asking, what if the idea is very good and it
Hmm.
is also practical, but sometimes the financial cost comes in the way? How should we
Yeah.
handle that? And is it is then deemed not practical due to the costing?
See, there are a couple of things with idea. Idea is good, idea is functional, but if it does not fit the budget, I would still say it is not functional. Because one of the things that every client comes up with is a budget, a limited budget. And as an architect, you have to really think about budget right from the first day. Some projects, like I said initially, don't get built because of budgetary issues. Sometimes architects propose something which does not fit the budget. Sometimes even clients have those aspirations which do not fit their budgets. I remember a very good meme around this, that you are asking for a mansion, but you have a budget of a hut. So something like that. So it is floating around on Facebook. I could see that.
Okay, the last question, how to connect, Akshita is asking, how to connect built environment with unbuilt environment beautifully.
I think imagination. One thing I would suggest all or advise all the students is your imagination, your ideas get very much influenced by marks. Don't let that happen. Now, work as if there are no marks. Work as if there is no assessment and see what you can do. Ultimately, the truth is there are marks and attendance and everything, scores are there. But at times we should free ourselves from that kind of pressure and see what is our real worth. Most of you would realize you can do much better if you just release that pressure of marks from your head. Like I remember one, if it was last question, right?
Yes, sir.
It was this was yeah. So I would like to share one dialogue from a movie which is based on the life of architecture students. This dialogue says, आज तुम मार्क्स के लिए काम कर रहे हो, कल तुम सिर्फ पैसे के लिए काम करोगे. That should not be the motivation for work.
In the end, one last thing our faculty Toshi ma'ams wants to say. There is a
Sure.
quote by Moshe Safdie: "The unbuilt work is the place you grow the most." Thank you for
Yeah.
making us realize this.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful time, and
Same here.
it was an honor for us to present this. Thank you so
Over to
much.
you, Manisha ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Deepak sir, and thank you, everyone. I think, sir, it was really appreciated by everyone. I'm getting a lot of messages also over my phone, also saying that this was a really good webinar. So, thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you.